Oh, are you ready, Alan?
I'm ready.
We're live! Thank you very much. My next show is at 4 p.m. for the Oh, girls, settle down. Keep your bras on. Wait till the second half of the show for that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Crafty Boys, where today we are going to be doing a brewery that doesn't actually make a whole lot of beer, apparently. This is what I've learned. But once in a while...
We're all about learning on this show.
That's right. Gems do land, apparently mainly on the island. But, Alan, you picked this beer? Go ahead. Oh,
I did. Oh, it's got a tray of something, it looks like. So I was in the mood for a beer, surprisingly enough, on last Friday night. So I headed down to my local jar store and was looking around, and I thought, wow, I would really feel like having an IPA. So I was looking around to see if there's anything that I'd never tried before, and I found this. It came in a 4-pack. It is from Toad Brewing in Vancouver, and it is called the Kermode West Coast IPA. Now, Kermodes is a type of beer found in BC, which is, I guess, why. So Shane is demonstrating for us what a Kermode does.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. You are completely unaware of their presence until and that's
Clever girl. So anyway, I brought this home and I cracked it open, and I was just we did a couple weeks ago. We did fresh squeezed from Deschutes in Oregon, right? So this was very similar in my mind to fresh squeezed, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to do it on the show. So
very cool. Let's try it. Let's tell everyone how much we love this beer.
All right, let's do it.
Dave, can you hold up your can?
I can hold up my can.
Hold up your can. Looks very gorgeous. Now I'm going to show you my can. Right here, baby. Because I live 3-4 blocks away from Steel Toad, and I waltzed in there with growlers today and said, hey, do you fill these? And they said, of course we do. I said, great, Kermode me. And then I asked them a few questions about how come I couldn't find any in Vancouver. And as I was telling you guys before the show, apparently it was a special deal for an event or for some sort of reason, like an anniversary or whatever it was. And so there you go. But I'm going to show you right now. That's the color. It's very, very, very beautiful.
Very golden.
And full disclosure, I bought 2 growlers and I'm down to 1. So that just shows you how much this beer has been respected.
He's been sharing with street people.
I have been.
So Shane, is this a Kermode?
Yes.
Okay.
So apparently it was only available on Vancouver Island.
That's what I was told by the people.
It's just by luck that Shane happens to live only a few blocks away from Steel Toad and was able to get it in a growler. So we kind of dodged a bullet here. I think.
If I lived anywhere else, or then I would have been like, God damn it, you Islanders! Why are you picking beers I can't get? So yeah. But overall, the first thing I did notice about this beer when I had it, and right now, is the hops. There's some Citra in here.
Yep.
And what's the other one? Cascadia? Maybe?
Possibly. I wonder if it says. It
doesn't say on my growler, but it's a very very aromatic hop.
It reminds me of fresh squeezed. I mean, a lot of people say that fresh squeezed is maybe one of the best IPAs that you can get. this comes really close. Very, very close.
So,
I put
Alan,
this,
I
I
have
put
to write
this
this
on
down.
the same level as Fat Tug.
Them's are there some fighting words.
Well, what do you think?
Allison McGrain, can I borrow you for a second? Alan is making a declaration that this beer that you and I were having earlier is up there with Fat Tug. Would you agree?
That's what you get.
Did you say that this beer right here in this glass is don't get out of here? As good as Fat Tug or no?
Fat Tug better.
Fat Tug is better, which she usually says anyway. But that's okay because you know why? Or know what? I kind of agree. I'm writing this down. This is a red letter day. Alan declares Dave is his superior. Oh, P.S. The beer is pretty good. Yeah, no, I give this.
So I'm gonna wake up in the morning. I'm gonna read the Vancouver Sun, and the front page headline is going to be "Crafty Boy declares."
Crafty Boy declares beer as good as Fat Tug.
There's like a parade in the streets, you know. A sailor goes up to some woman and just kisses her at random.
The workplace has people picketing in front of it.
Woo! Oh, sorry, I was through the parade. I missed what you said.
But don't you think that the Kermode here is actually, I mean, it's quite, as far as IPAs go, it's strong.
It's strong. And it's
like a strong contender. Like a strong contender.
And
it's
wow, that my brain just like backfired there. No, it's quite strong, and but I mean the thing is there are some IPAs that are good but are kind of heavy. But this one, it's like you don't remember drinking it at all because it's got it goes down quietly and then wakes up and punches you right in the nuts.
So I want to hear. I want to hear
what
Dave
you like
thinks.
it when it happens.
Would you say that this is somewhat akin to a pan-galactic gargle blaster?
Wow, that's a strong statement, sir.
Is it okay?
But
okay.
Dave, what do you think of the beer? It's like pulling teeth.
Dave is not the IPA fan, so I want to hear
exactly.
What he has to say.
Go, Dave. Look into the camera and convince us that you're committed to your decision.
Oh, okay. Jeez, I didn't realize I had to be committed and everything. Okay, so very, very interesting. The first slurp, you don't get the hops at all until it's gone down, right? And then it hits you. And for me, that was a bit unfortunate in a way, because to start with, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is almost like perfect, because you don't get hit by that bitterness right off the top or off the hop, if you will. So, yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Not bad. I do like it. And I think probably just like actually the Crusty Squeeze that you were mentioning, Alan, I think I got used to that hoppiness after a while. Yeah. So that'll probably sort of the edge will come off it and it'll, I'll find the other flavors in it. But I think part of that is just because I'm not as used to drinking this stuff as you guys. So
you're getting up there though. We've been doing this for like 2.5 years.
Yeah, well, but still, I think
you've tried a lot more beers than the average person.
Yeah, yes, I will give you that. Although
you're probably going to need a liver transplant at some point. Well,
I've already put myself on the wait list.
Yeah,
but I have chatted with a couple of coworkers, and I think the two of them are probably not far off of our libation levels, if you will. At least from the way they talk, particularly the one fella. He seems to quite enjoy trying out different beers, and I think he does with, relative frequency.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, but it is true. Man, I've easily had a trillion times more suds in the last couple and a half years or whatever than I have in the entire rest of my existence.
Right.
So
Nice.
yeah, it's been a fascinating journey for me.
It has been it's been fascinating to watch, because you have gone from somebody who's like, beer to oh, beer's okay. That brings us to our first story of the night. The first story is, if you are, of course, somebody who knows where Vancouver is on the planet, and you know of something called the PNE. You don't know where Vancouver is, Alan?
Yes, I do.
What?
Vancouver, Washington.
Do the truffle shuffle. So anyway, the PNE out here is apparently having an adult focused night where you can drink booze while you peruse the PNE lot. Their whole thing is, fancy a beer with your bumper car ride? How about a cotton candy martini with your carousel? So yeah, they're wanting to bring adults into the park without being around children. Which reading that out loud is kind of weird. But anyway, it's called Playland Nights. So essentially, adults are invited to enjoy and to play in Playland with a kid-free atmosphere with booze. Featuring
I think this calls for. I think we have to do this.
snow cone vodkas, candy appletinis, candy floss martinis, and your selection of a variety of craft beers, which they don't list here anywhere that I can see. So these happen.
Like banquet or something.
I'd like to have a Labatt Blue Label, please. No.
Some of that fancy stuff.
Yes, for that down highfalutin booze, I'd like to have a. Remember, this just popped into my mind, and I always remember thinking I would never drink that beer when I heard this. But you remember that Rainier commercial, Rainier beer, where they had a motorbike driving towards him, and it was like Rainier beer. We still remember that, 30 years
absolutely.
So yeah, there you go. So basically, anyway, these nights at Playland, by the way, happen just for the month of July. It looks like every Friday, and there you go. If you want to go, tickets are $22, and apparently,
does that include your rides?
There's only 100 per night somehow.
What?
I don't know how that works.
No.
Oh no, wait, sorry. They're only $22 for the first 100 tickets purchased. And you have to buy them online, otherwise.
How much are they after?
If you don't get them, they are $29. So you get some money off. So there you go.
What do you get with that?
I will tell you. Enjoy evenings dedicated to adults only. Sex. What? Hello, sex parties. No, complete with. Yeah, you get to go on. You get to go on the rides. There's a park-wide liquor license. Wow, that must have been expensive. Guest DJs. Ooh, I'm leaping for this. Special activities, sex parties, and signature cocktails, along with other special adult-only Playland-themed surprises.
So are the rides free? With your admission?
It does not say. Admission includes unlimited access to over 25 rides and attractions.
I would assume then you don't have to buy tickets for the rides.
So there you go, 19 plus Playland Nights.
Maybe I want to do this
we should
for my
do
birthday this year.
I think that's not a bad idea. Hey, Alan, can you stand up for me?
Yeah.
There you go. Alan, start off the next story, man.
All right. So, who here had an Atari 2600? You did?
Yep.
Dave?
I didn't.
That was my virtually only console. Period.
See, I never got the Atari 2600. I always wanted an Atari 2600. Never got one. I think my mom was afraid that they would come alive during the night and eat us all in our sleep. But anyway, so I never got an Atari 2600. But apparently, Atari is getting back into the hardware business. They are making a new console, and nobody knows quite what it is. Is this like a retro type deal, or is it a brand new one to compete with like PS4s and Xbox Ones or whatever? Nobody knows. But apparently, a new Atari console is in the making, and we know nothing about it. So let's speculate. We have no information. Let's make up stuff. What is this going to be?
It's going to be an Xbox killer.
Yeah?
Shane's like,
It's going to be an expensive Pong device.
That's what I'm thinking. So, I shouldn't have said that we have
4K.
I should have said that we have no information. It's apparently going to be based on PC infrastructure. So there's going to be some sort of like probably a Linux type of system involved. I think it's going to be a retro system myself. I think it's going to have like an entire catalog of their games, including the ET game. And somebody else was pointing out to me, and we discussed this a little bit before the show, and Dave was asking, what do you mean? So the Atari 2600, there was a game that came out for it called the ET game. And essentially, the designers of this game spent so little time actually making a good game. They just wanted to slap the ET name on it and get it out to market. This thing was a piece of crap, and it almost killed the home video game market. If it wasn't for the Nintendo Entertainment System, we'd probably still have video arcades today. But I digress. So when it basically killed the Atari business, this ET video game. So what Atari did, they had nowhere to put all these games. So they took all like thousands of copies of these little ET game cartridges, as well as some Atari 2600 consoles, and they buried them in the desert. Now this was this was folklore at the time. Everybody knew that they had done this, but everybody was kind of like, no, did they really? So somebody went on an archaeological dig last year to actually find out if they did. And sure enough, somebody found a huge stash in the desert of thousands of ET Atari game cartridges and Atari 2600 systems.
Holy shit.
Perfectly preserved, too, in the dry desert.
Wow.
So some people are speculating maybe this is a new console that allows them to sell all these ET game cartridges so people have something to play them on.
Something tells me that they're just going to play Space Invaders.
Space Invaders, yes. Or
what
or
else are you
Asteroids.
going to play? Or
Asteroids.
Okay. All right.
My thinking is I think, Alan, I think you're right. I think they're just going to produce something that's got, if not their whole catalog, a good chunk of it. You'll just buy this thing. It'll probably be retro flavored, and you just plug it in and you play.
Perhaps to try to cash in like the Nintendo Classic that came out last year and was like, nobody's been able to find it anywhere, and the only ones you can buy, you have to be prepared to pay $600 for on the black market. They're probably looking into cash in on some of that.
I wouldn't surprise me, but actually, it's very interesting. Speaking of the Nintendo thing, is that they made it for something like 6 months and then stopped making them. So now
Yes.
they're like hard to find.
Well, I think they made 1.5 million units, and they thought that supposedly they thought that would be more than enough for the global marketplace. They didn't think that demand for the system would be as high as it was, and it was huge. I mean, they probably could have sold, they made 1.5 million. They could have sold probably 25 million easily. They did bump up production to 2.5 million by the time they said they called it quits. But I mean, still, I have never seen one in person myself, and I've been looking everywhere. It's not in production anymore. If you want to find one, you have to go to like Kijiji or use.ca or eBay or whatever, and you're going to spend probably about between $400 and $600
Yeah,
for unopened.
Yeah,
Ouch.
because I'm just looking at them on Amazon, and there's a bunch here that are, $500, $400.
The crazy thing is that Nintendo made it only came with one controller. You could buy a second controller separately. Those second controllers are going for more than the actual Nintendo Classic console itself.
What?
Yeah, they're really actually. I'm noticing that you can actually buy ripoffs of this entire system. Nintendo Classic Mini Family, complete with 500 games for $100. So somebody has definitely been.
Well, those I mean, I don't know what you're looking at specifically, but I'm going to guess that those are Raspberry Pis running
Probably
running RetroPie that people are loading and then selling. Which
this is
really ethical, but whatever.
This one comes with 2 controllers. And it actually looks like a Super Nintendo, although the sticker on it just says entertainment system on the front. So no Nintendo indication of any kind. But it is obviously a Nintendo system, which is kind of cute and adorable. Yeah, so there you go. The next story on the list is kind of sad, but according to the CBC's beer columnist, if you're sitting around playing your NES Classic and you have some friends with you because you coughed up the dough for an additional controller, you need to look out for what you're buying, because this crafty beer marketing could screw you over.
Big time. So what does it say that our national broadcaster, the CBC, actually has a beer columnist? What does it say about us as a peoples?
Because we like to drink beer.
We're luscious. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's kind of crazy. Anyway, what they're saying is in this article is that we need to redefine what we consider craft beer. And I agree with this article. I don't agree with the person who's saying these things quite a lot. It's her name is Rebecca Wyman.
For this beer tonight, this is craft beer. Well done, Steel Toad.
Steel Toad is definitely craft beer. What isn't craft beer? Granville Island Brewing, who is owned by Molson Coors, and Stanley Park Brewing is owned by InBev. Those are not craft beers. They are marketed as craft beers, but they're not.
Now, we've actually talked about this a bit before, because we were a long time ago, we were trying to determine what exactly craft beer is, what are the rules, what are, for us, at least us 3 or 4 here, what are the things that we like to say that this is the measure, this is the bar that the beer has to hop over, because the guy drinking that beer is definitely never going to make it. So, but we sort of said it needed to be unique, and it had to be in I think batches smaller than a certain amount.
Yeah.
10,000 hectoliters or some amount. We came up with some magic number at one point, but essentially we have these rules around craft beer, and definitely I would say that they do have a point that some of these larger breweries are getting into the, I would say, rebranding market. I mean, we've got some companies that brew beer under other labels, even though the breweries no longer exist, and this is a practice that's been going on for a bazillion years, because we've seen it with some of the beers we've had on here. Beers that have been around. The recipe supposedly has been around for 300 years and hasn't changed and has been cared for by blah 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 blah. But then you dig in a bit deeper and you find out that the family that started the brewery sold it 75 years ago, and somebody else then turned around and sold it again, and then usually it ends up in the hands of InBev, who pretty much owns 99.9% of the beer manufacturers out there, at least manufacturers that make a lot of beer and ship it internationally. Now, one of the rules I think we established was that the craft brewery had to make beer and only sell beer locally, as in, I think in our idea, the province. Does that still stick? I mean, do these larger breweries that are making maybe something we could classify as craft beer?
See, I don't know if that really holds water, because I mean, let's look at, say, Stanley Park Brewing, and I have absolutely no idea what their process is. But let's say InBev goes and creates like a big vat of beer. And, the first half of this stuff in the vat gets bottled in Stanley Park Brewing bottles and goes out for sale in Vancouver or BC as a province. And then the other half of it goes to Big Rock in Alberta. It's exactly the same beer. It came from exactly the same vat, but is it then craft brewing? If we just take the same thing and put a different label on it and say, hey, this is craft beer, it's local, it's only being sold within a small region, is that still craft beer?
Yes. The marketing is pretty slimy, but yes.
Okay.
It's a process, right?
Waiting for you to say something there, Dave, and you were like,
it's the process.
yes. Well, I mean, that is the thing. Yeah, that is part of it. I neglected to mention that earlier, was that, part of it is the method of how they actually make it. And but again, it's you've got a lot of companies. I mean, in Vancouver right now, it's been going crazy for a couple of years, but it's as these breweries grow, because they're always expanding, they're adding more tanks, they're doing other things. Where's that line that says you're no longer making craft beer, you're making something akin to Molson Canadian? But again, we're very hard on Molson Canadian, but it does the job.
Let me put this a different way.
Okay.
Would you say that the Mona Lisa is a masterpiece?
Sure.
No? Okay, Dave's going to be difficult.
Dave?
It's like,
Dave? Explain yourself. What have you got against the Mona Lisa?
I'm just shitting you. It's
okay.
Yes.
So,
I mean, who's going to argue with that?
Okay. So then I go and take a canvas and I free hand paint an exact replica of the Mona Lisa.
Okay.
Is that a masterpiece?
No, because you suck.
So why? So why
is it a
then?
masterpiece? Because it's not original.
Why then?
Emulation and copy is considered to be non-masterpiece material.
Exactly. So why then is a beer that is made in large quantities and just rebranded and resold under different names, why is that craft Brewing. Why
Because
is that?
that's called deception. And that will not be tolerated in the craft beer community because we're going to find you. We're going to come to your brewery and we're going to put holes in those really expensive stainless steel tanks. Because once you do that with a pickaxe, you're not using that tank ever again. And you're going to have to spend a lot of money. And actually, won't that dump the beer out on the ground? And then that would waste a lot of beer. So maybe we won't do that. Maybe we'll just drink all your beer and then pee in the vat, and then you can't use it ever again. Because you know why?
But what if they don't know that you
learned
peed in the vat?
Well,
And then
you've
they
seen
bottle
Strange
it and
Brew,
market
right?
it, and people buy it and drink it, and then they die
That's a good point.
because you're diseased.
Disease will get you. I always picture myself as Rick Moranis in Strange Brew. I gotta pee so bad I could taste it. So I don't know why that popped into my mind, but there you go. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think there's an absolute answer for this. I think that it's really going to be up to the people that lay their judgment upon whether or not the brewery has sold
That's us,
out.
dude.
Oh, right. Okay. Beer's awesome.
He's
Beer's
not
cool
letting
all
it
the
go.
time. And craft brewing is anything bigger than 6 liters is too much.
6 liters.
and then you'll go broke. Yeah, that'll solve the problem right there. We've got so much beer. What have we sold this month? 6 liters worth. What? Why did we buy so much hops?
Take
then?
our craft
We've used like 7
seriously.
ounces. We've used like 1.5 ounces. Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly. I mean, at a certain point, you're right. Us three have already determined many eons ago that it's not going to be craft brewing. If they're sending it off to Malaysia or something and adding formaldehyde to it or whatever, then definitely it's not going to be craft brewing. But again, I think we're going to see a bit more of a shakeup in this entire industry at some point, mainly because the shout out for today is to Caledon, Ontario, who just opened this week, or actually this past weekend, their very first local flavor of the craft beer and cider festival, where a lot of Southern Ontario companies that make craft beer and cider basically had their own sort of Great Canadian beer fest, as we like in Victoria. So congratulations to them. 1,200 people showed up, and it's basically trying to stimulate the local economy because, you know, when you live in a city with 50-odd thousand people, what else are you going to do except drink beer? I mean, really, when you think about it, what else is there to do? Go to the movies, watch Netflix, have social interaction, whatever. Beer all the time.
Screw that.
The reason I thought of this particular article is because it's kind of interesting that as time has gone on, we're seeing beer festivals all over the place, including June 2018. I'm driving to Tuktoyaktuk. Who's coming with me?
Tuktoyaktuk?
Have I not told you this before?
No.
I am. Surprising. But yeah, there's a beer festival in Tuk, apparently, supposedly on a barge. Who knew? In the Arctic Ocean. In the Arctic Ocean, where it's sunlight all the time.
I think we need to go.
We need to go. We'll do a satellite feed.
Yeah,
we have Dave on satellite.
Yeah. Dave, can you hear us? Dave, can you please?
I'm too busy hanging on. This fucker's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. God damn it!
He'll be running away from a polar bear
later, Dave. Yeah, exactly. I can say it's like Dave's sitting there going, Yeah, so the beer's not too bad. I mean, there's some IPAs which I wasn't too wild about, and then in the background you see this, this bear just running at him for like 10 minutes until it gets him, and no one bothers to go. Dave, there's a poll. Actually, never mind, Dave. It's okay. What did you say about that IPA? You didn't like it? Well, I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Dave. You're breaking up, Dave. I'm sorry, Dave. Bear. So you're basically you go up there, you're screwed. So yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the old Saturday Night Live weekend update things with Al Franken. He was always like the reporter in the field. And he would always be on satellite. He had like this huge satellite dish on a helmet on his head.
Nice.
He'd get attacked every single.
What else can you do? Because when you're, being chased
can't
by
hear anything.
wildlife, what? You can't hear anything.
I said you can't do anything. You said, what else can you do? You can't do anything.
You just let them die, because that's far more entertaining than anything. I mean, you look at any video
Circle
on
of
YouTube,
life.
it's not the person going, and then the Mets won the baseball game and everyone cheered. It was awesome. No. It's the, and then the Mets won the, or a tree falls on them, or, cars run them over. Barely. People reporting the newsstand in the middle of the street. But who knows? Yeah, so there you go. Congratulations to Ontario for opening up yet another craft beer celebration of awesomeness. And I think by the time that we hit the, age, our retirement age, we're going to have to visit all of them and probably die in the process.
Probably.
Because Dave will get eaten by a bear first. I'll get killed by like a muskrat or something. And Alan will get taken down. Alan will be talking, and an eagle will come down and carry him off. And I mean, that's how else can our careers end, really, when you think about it. Because that's kind of just how these things roll. So I, for one, welcome our Toads Made of Steel overlords.
Mm-hmm. Very good beer.
So
my compliments.
They did a good job. They did a really good job on this one. By the way, people up on my rooftop party zone, as we call it, have been. I brought a growler of this up there earlier, and it was well received, and there was much rejoicing. What? Sorry, Peanut Gallery. It disappeared. Yes, the beer vanished quite quickly. So if Steel Toad ever watches this, hey, I followed the instructions as per the growler Phil man at the bar, who said, don't drink this tomorrow, because don't. Like, why would you? Don't. It was cool, and I was like, dude, this is not going to last the night. And surprise, it hasn't. So there you go. Any other stories there, boys? Any things you've been about? What is in this?
I think no, not for me, anyways.
No, all right, Alan.
No, I'm good.
All right, well then you're tired of. And then go drink some more beer alone, because you guys stink. You're smelly. You're on the island, and I can smell you from here. So that has been episode 106 of the Crafty Boys. Thank you for coming by, and don't forget, every week around 9:30 on Wednesday night, we stream live talking about a beer, usually a craft beer. I can't think if we had anything else other than beer. Probably not. So, but yeah, we just talk about beer, because hey, go Canada.